the Krishna, can you hear me? Hare Krishna? No? Because it's... It's coming?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me without...
Yes, now it's
Check. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's coming?
It's coming.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I think your battery is on.
Okay. We continue, right?
8 minutes के बाद आता है ना?
Okay, let's continue now. And no stopping, all right? Chalo. Hare Krishna. All right, so this is the intelligence. So now we know who will take. Just see, those purports. Very, very specific. So Prabhupada wrote, an intelligent person actually interested in getting freed, the material clutches must associate with pure devotees. And this is the next verse. Right? This is the next verse. So the king, right? Because I was saying that if you are materially opulent, you can't take. But here he is the king, right? But his qualification is that he is intelligent. Therefore, because he's intelligent, he's a king and he's intelligent, all right? And Jad Bharat is moving around as what?
As a dumb.
As a poo. As a poo Brahmana. Poo, right? Who's intelligent? Right? Who is Krishna conscious? So he's moving around unseen. All right? Unseen by others as a poor Brahmana, but actually he is very intelligent. And he is chastising this king. You give up your false prestige and lack of discrimination. You don't know who is who. All right. Text 23. Namo mahadbhyo stu nama shishubhyo Namo yuvabhyo nama avatubhyaha Ye brahmanagam avadhuta lingas Charanti tebhya shivamasturagyam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the great personalities, whether they walk on the earth's surface as children, young boys, avadut or great brahmanas. Even if they are hidden under different guises, I offer my respects to all of them. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasties that are always offending them. The royal dynasties. King Rahugana was very repentant because he had forced Jad Bharat to carry his palanquin. He therefore began offering prayers to all kinds of brahmanas and self-realized persons, even though they might be playing like children or hiding in some guises. The 4 Kumaras walked everywhere in the guise of 5-year-old boys, and similarly there were many brahmanas, knowers of Brahman, who traversed the globe either as young men, children, or avadut. Being puffed up due to their position, the royal dynasty generally offend these great personalities. Okay, when you are attentive, I have your attention, then I can speak. Therefore, King Rahugana began to offer his respectful obeisances unto them so that the offensive royal dynasties might not glide down into a hellish condition. If one offends a great personality, the Supreme Person Godhead does not excuse one, although the great personalities themselves might not take offense. So, the person himself is not taking offense, but the Supreme Person of Godhead is not excusing. There's an excuse. Maharaj Ambarish was offended by Durvasa, who even approached Lord Vishnu for pardon. Lord Vishnu would not grant him pardon. Therefore, he had to fall down at the lotus feet of Maharaj Ambarish. Even though Maharaj Ambarish was a Kshatriya Grihastha, one should be very careful not to offend the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Okay, text 24. Now comes again the prose. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityevam Uttaramata Sabhe Brahmarshi Sutta Sindhu Patayatma Satattvaham Viganayata Paranubhava Parama Karunikata Yupadishya Rahuganena Sakaronam Abhivandita Chara Apurnarva Iva Nibrita Karanurmya Shayodharanim Imam Vichachara. Shri Shukadev Goswami, Srila Shukadev Goswami continued, my dear king, O son of Mother Uttara, there were some waves of dissatisfaction in the mind of Jad Bharat due to his being insulted by King Rahugana, who made him carry his palanquin, but Jad Bharat neglected this, and his heart again became calm and quiet like an ocean. Although King Rahugana had insulted him, he was a great Paramahamsa. Being a Vaishnava, he was naturally very kind-hearted, and he therefore told the king about the constitutional position of the soul. He then forgot the insult because King Rahugana pitifully begged pardon at his lotus feet. After this, he began to wander all over the earth just as before. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.21, Kapila Dev described the symptoms of great personalities. Titikshava Karunikaha Surida Sarvadehinam. A saintly devotee is certainly very tolerant. He is the friend of all living entities, and he doesn't Okay. I think you're very busy today, Devahuti. Huh? What happened? You have some work? You have some work? So can you finish it and then we can continue? A pure devotee has all the qualities of a sadhu. Jad Bharat is an example of this. Due to the material body, his senses were certainly agitated when he was insulted by King Rahugana. But later, due to the king's humble submission, Jad Bharat excused him. It is the duty of everyone desiring to return to Godhead to become submissive like King Rahugana and beg pardon of Vaishnavas one may have offended. Vaishnavas are generally very kind-hearted. Therefore, if one immediately submits himself at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, one is immediately cleared of offensive reactions. If one doesn't do so, the reactions will remain and the result will not be very palatable. So we remember how we describe the qualities of Jad Bharat, but he became actually here. Prabhupada is saying that he was like annoyed. And why was he annoyed? In the purport is given. Why was he annoyed? He's a Paramahamsa, right? But he got annoyed. Yeah. So Prabhupada says, O son of Mother Uttara, there were some waves of dissatisfaction in the mind of Jad Bharat due to his being insulted by King Rahugana, who made him carry his palanquin. Right? That's when he started speaking, right? And we describe how what's inside you is what will come out, right? So, if he was a low-class person then he would have sworn. Right? And because he was a Paramahamsa, knowledge came out. Right? So when he opened his mouth, he was provoked. Right? Was provoked. But what came out of his mouth was knowledge. You have experience of this, right? You've met good people also. You say something, right? Like especially when you go on the Vrindavan side, it's like there's always a rush for something. You take prasadam and you want to go and run and wash your hand. I remember how this elderly man, he said, Lali. This is how he spoke, Lali. Let him wash his hand. Right? So, what you are is how you speak. That will come out. So, there were some waves of dissatisfaction in the mind of Jad Bharat due to his being insulted by King Rahugana. This is such a strong word. Insulted, and actually he was insulted, right? But because he was a Paramahamsa, Jad Bharat neglected this, meaning he came back. Right? He tolerated it. And he came back to his natural self. So this is huge, huge, huge practice. Huge practice. All our sadhana is meant to make us come to this point where even when we are provoked, right? Even when you're provoked and you want what should come out, okay, he really chastised him. Jad Bharat really chastised him. But he was without envy. He chastised, but he was without envy. And therefore, King Rahugana appreciated and said, who are you? Right? He forgot the insult. Being a Vaishnava, he was naturally very kind-hearted. And he therefore told the king about the constitutional position of the soul. Anyway, he found a fit disciple. Alright? Because that disciple was actually looking for knowledge. So he found a fit disciple, and he was intelligent. The king was intelligent. Arrogant but intelligent. Text 25. So Virapatirapi Sujana Samavagata Paramatma Satatva Atmani Avidyaropitam Cha Dehatma Matim Vishasharaja Evam Hinripa Bhagavat Ashrita Shritanubhavaha. After receiving lessons from the great devotee Jad Bharat, King Rahugana of the state of Sauvira became completely aware of the constitutional position of the soul. He thus gave up the bodily conception completely. My dear king, whoever takes shelter of the servant of the Lord is certainly glorified, because he can without difficulty give up the bodily conception. As stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22.54. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kai, Lav Matra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhi Hai. It is a fact that if one takes shelter of a pure devotee, one attains all perfection, even if the association is a short one. A sadhu is a pure devotee of the Lord. It has been our practical experience that the first instruction of our spiritual master infused us with Krishna consciousness, so that now we are at least on the path of Krishna consciousness and can understand the philosophy. As a result, there are many devotees engaged in this Krishna consciousness movement. The whole world is revolving under the bodily conception. Therefore, there must be devotees all over the world to deliver people from the false bodily conception and fully engage them in Krishna consciousness. So what is Prabhupada saying here? Yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada is saying that we must preach. Right? This is what Prabhupada is saying here. We must preach. He's saying, if the entire world is under the bodily conception, right? And they are undergoing what we have just read, right? The entire chapter describes the life of a person who is in the bodily conception. And Prabhupada is saying, he himself, just for one moment, he had the association of a pure devotee, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. A sadhu is a pure devotee of the Lord. It has been our practical experience. Prabhupada is saying, I met my own spiritual master just for a fraction of a second. It has been our practical experience that the first instruction of our spiritual master infused us with Krishna consciousness, so that now we are at least on the path of Krishna consciousness and can understand the philosophy, right? So when he had that sangha, right? He had that association, so that made him interested. And when he started to practice, he started to understand the philosophy. And because he understood the philosophy, as a result, there are many devotees engaged in this Krishna consciousness movement. So it's like, I tell you, you tell another one, you tell another one, and therefore there are many. So because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta told Prabhupada, he told so many people, they told so many people, right? So as a result, there are many devotees engaged in this Krishna consciousness movement. The whole world is revolving under the bodily conception. Therefore, there must be devotees all over the world to deliver people from the false bodily conception and fully engage them in Krishna consciousness. So this is what Prabhupada is saying. So, and we have already heard what to do with women. Oh, we are all here, right? What to do with women. Prabhupada is saying, engage them in, utilize them. Correct? Confirm. 26. Rajavacha Yohavaiha Bahuvidya Mahabhagavata Tvaya Dhihita Parokshena Vachasa Jivaloka Bhavahadhat Sahyarya Manishaya Kalpita Vishayo Nanjasa Vyutpana Loka Samadhigama Athatat Avaitat Duravagamam Samaveda Tanukalpanena Nirdishyatam iti. King Parikshit then told Shukdev Goswami. Now listen what he said. So it was not King Rahugana who said that. It's King Parikshit who said it. My dear Lord, O great devotee sage, you are omniscient. You have very nicely described the position of the conditioned soul, who is compared to a merchant in the forest. From these instructions, intelligent man can understand that the senses of a person in the bodily conception are like rogues and thieves in that forest, and one's wife and children are like jackals and other ferocious animals. However, it is not very easy for the unintelligent to understand the purport of this story, because it is difficult to extricate the exact meaning from the allegory. I therefore request Your Holiness to to give the direct meaning, right? So you have told me a story, you have told me the story Jad Bharat told King Rahugana. King Rahugana is very intelligent, right? He understood. You understand. Maybe I have understood, but we don't know whether the world has understood. So give me the direct meaning. There are many stories and incidents in Srimad Bhagavatam that are described figuratively. Such allegorical descriptions may not be understood by unintelligent men. Therefore, it is the duty of the student to approach a bona fide spiritual master for the direct explanation. And lucky for us, Prabhupada already gave us the explanation, right? With each verse, he gave us the explanation. Now Prabhupada is going to double explain to us what has already been explained. So this chapter 13 and 14 is a duplication. Same, I don't know what more Prabhupada has to say now. He told us sufficient, right? All right, so next week we start chapter 14. This is rather short.
I didn't get this. The position of the conditioned soul is compared to merchant in the forest.
Oh, you forgot? You forgot the whole story.
I somehow how it's merchant.
Yeah, that's the story. It started with this. Started with this, right?
Bitten by a snake, honeycomb, all that thing.
When did it start?
Starting from chapter.
Which text it started with?
Yeah, 5.
Text 5. It's the text 2. Text 2. Text.
The conditions.
Yeah, it's-
four Mataji. That my dear children, merchant from the forest part of the material world.
It starts actually with text 2. O King Rahugana, in this forest of material existence, meaning samsara, right? There are 6 very powerful plunderers. When the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus, the conditioned merchant doesn't know how to spend his money, and he is taken away by these plunderers. Like tigers, jackals, and other ferocious animals in a forest that are ready to take away a lamb from the custody of its protector, the wife and children enter the heart of the merchant and plunder him in so many ways. The entire story is about the merchant, right? Okay. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Continue next week.